Welcome to Good Vibes, Healthy Yahab. Please subscribe, like and share. The real truth about salt. Over the last couple of decades, salt has become a bit of a dirty word. We have been told to make sure our intake of it is low, especially to avoid high blood pressure and heart disease. However, the elements, minerals that are found in salt are necessary for our bodies to function. Be aware though that not all salt is created equal. Here's the real truth about salt. Types of salt. Table or refined salt. Table salt is the type of salt most commonly used as a food additive and is almost purely sodium chloride. During the intense processing it goes through, table salt is stripped of any other minerals. Sodium and chloride are two of the nutrients necessary for our organs to function. However, the intense heat processing of table salt alters the form of the sodium chloride crystals into one that is very difficult for the body to metabolize and use. Table salt may have had some nutrients added back in, such as iodine, iodized salt, but it also usually has added desiccants and free-flow, anti-caking agents. Some anti-caking agents have been deemed safe, but some, particularly those containing aluminium, pose health concerns. Sea salt. Refined sea salt, white sea salt, is little better nutritionally than table salt. Sun-dried, unrefined sea salt that is gray and slightly damp and clumpy contains a much higher percentage of additional minerals or elements. The sodium chloride crystals in unrefined sea salt have also not been exposed to the same intense heat processing of table salt, and so the body assimilates them more easily. Examples include Celtic sea salt, Muramoto salt and Lima salt. Sea salt may contain environmental pollutants from the seawater it is extracted from. Rock salt. Rock salt is mined from underground. Some is richer in trace minerals than others. Possibly the best form of rock salt is Himalayan mineral salt. This salt has been submitted to intense pressure underground. The result is that it has a balanced crystalline structure and the minerals are connected to the crystals in a colloidal form. This means that the body assimilates all the elements of this salt easily and completely. Why we need salt. The main component of salt is sodium. Water and sodium regulate the water content of the body. Both sodium and water are necessary for the proper hydration of our body. We need water inside our cells and also outside our cells. Sodium balances the amount of water that stays outside our cells. Natural salt allows necessary body fluids to freely cross membrane walls. Refined salt, however, inhibits this function and can lead to accumulated fluids stagnating in joints and tissues, resulting in cellulite, arthritis, rheumatism and kidney problems. Natural salt also balances excess acidity in cells, helping to maintain a correct acid-alkaline balance in the body. Sodium is an electrolyte, a substance that becomes an ion in solution and is able to conduct electricity. Many processes in the brain, nervous system, muscles and other parts of your body use electrical signals for communication. The movement of sodium in your body is essential to the generation of these electrical signals. However, balance is needed, as too much or too little sodium in the body can cause cells to malfunction. Other common electrolytes include potassium, chloride and bicarbonate. The effect of high salt intake. High salt intake is more likely to have a negative effect if you are eating refined table salt. If you eat a diet high in commercial breads and processed foods including flavoring mixes, then it is likely that your salt intake is very high. If you eat a diet consisting largely of home-prepared foods with a good amount of fresh fruit and vegetables, then your salt intake is probably acceptable, although you may want to rethink the type of salt that you are using. High salt, sodium, intake can lead to high blood pressure and increased risk of stroke and heart disease. Excess salt intake, particularly refined salt, can burden the kidneys and adrenal glands, reduce the absorption of nutrients and cause calcium loss. Please note though, that at moderate doses natural salt enhances nutrient and calcium absorption. Cravings for salt or salty taste can be caused by two main things. Firstly, your salt taste adjusts with consumption. If you eat a lot of salt, then it takes higher levels of salt for food to taste salted to you. Secondly, if you eat refined salt, then your body may still crave salt because you are not giving it the absorbable minerals that it needs. High salt, sodium foods include salted chips and nuts, crackers, bread, baked beans, prepared sauces, prepared flavor mixes, fast foods, prepared meals, anything tinned, bottled in brine, olives, capers, fish, and cheese. Subtle sources of salt and sodium include packaged cakes and biscuits and bottled mineral water. Who is at risk of not getting enough sodium? Those at particular risk of having low levels of sodium are people who regularly engage in physically strenuous activities or exercise, i.e. people who sweat a lot, and those who drink a lot of water and eat little salt. The name for the condition where the body's stores of sodium are too low is called hyponatremia. The symptoms of hyponatremia include lethargy, muscle cramps, fuzzy brain and agitation. Confusingly, these symptoms are similar to those of dehydration. If you eat a low-salt diet and also consume significant amounts of water, or if you engage in lots of strenuous activity and experience symptoms like these, then it is likely that you may need to increase your intake of mineral salt. Excess saliva, drooling during sleep, may also indicate a deficiency of salt in the body. Low adrenal function or adrenal exhaustion may also increase your need for salt. Adrenal exhaustion is caused by excessive physical, emotional, environmental and/or psychological stress. People with low adrenals have specific problems with their internal water balance. Water poses a specific problem for people with adrenal fatigue because they tend toward dehydration but can easily overdilute the circulating electrolytes, sodium, potassium, magnesium and chlorine, in their blood by drinking too much water. The balance of sodium and potassium significantly affects the symptoms experienced by people with adrenal fatigue, and drinking plain water alters this balance. Therefore, although they are thirsty, drinking water may make them feel worse. To help balance the ratio of water to sodium and avoid this problem, try adding 1/4 to 1/2 teaspoon of salt, sodium chloride, to every glass of drinking water. You will probably find that the lightly salted water actually tastes better than regular water if your adrenals are low, because the salted water is more beneficial to your body. Certainly you will feel much better because your body needs both the salt as well as the water. If you are feeling especially draggy or fatigued, add more salt to the water. If you have an aversion to salted water, then you probably need less or no salt in the water. Conclusion: salt is necessary for the proper functioning of our body, but the form of salt is important. Some salts are more easily absorbed and contain higher levels of trace elements than others. Obviously, it is best to go for the most easily absorbed, mineral-rich salt that you can. In terms of how much salt you need, listen to your body, but generally it is not much. If you eat a good quality mineral salt, then it only takes a small amount to fulfill your body's nutrient needs. A small teaspoon of salt supplies an older adult body's daily needs for sodium, infants about 1/4 teaspoon. Sodium is also found in other food ingredients such as sodium bicarbonate, baking soda, and MSG, and occurs naturally in many foods. If possible, make most of your food yourself from scratch, and then you know the quantity and quality of salt and sodium you are ingesting. The best way to consume a balanced amount of salt is to consume largely fresh, raw food. Cooked food often uses more salt than raw. Reduce your meat consumption. Meat usually needs a good amount of salt to bring out the flavor. Use lots of natural flavorings like herbs and spices. Avoid fast and pre-prepared food. Salt is not something to avoid at all costs. Like most foods, it is beneficial when taken in balanced proportions and in an unrefined, natural form. Article source: https://ezinarticles.com/expert/Janine_Lattimore